And I just think that there's a lot that we haven't even seen yet from the tariff chaos that we've been experiencing over this last month and a half or so.
What I'm having difficulty wrapping my head around is this idea that there's a full case you can make for the bullishness of the tariffs overall, even just over the economy of the United States. And there's a whole other case that it could bring the world into a global depression. Like, I hear both, and I'm convinced of both. So I just wanted to actually play this clip from Jeffrey Sachs speaking at a diplomacy forum, speaking about Trump's position on tariffs, because I found it very compelling, and I'm curious if you will too.
Now, it would be pretty strange if you then blamed all the shop owners for having sold you all those things. You're ripping me off. You're ripping me off. You're ripping me off. I'm running a trade deficit. That is the level of understanding of the President of the United States. The trade deficit does not represent at all trade policies. It represents spending relative to production or earnings. We call that an identity. I teach it in the second day of my course in international monetary economics. Trump never made it to the second day. So he says you're running a trade deficit, but all that's happening is the United States is outspending its national income. And you can look at the national income chart. You can add up consumption and investment and government spending, and you could subtract off gross national product, and lo and behold, what will that equal? Not approximately, exactly, that will equal the current account deficit, which is the comprehensive measure of how much you spend on goods and services versus how much you sell in goods and services. So the United States runs a current account deficit because it spends more than it produces.
The way that I understand it seems to be like how the markets actually work. In any other circumstance where it's not the world reserve currency that is being considered, yes, what they're saying is true. The deficit could be considered bad. But America, what it exports is dollars. The dollar is a thing, just like this person's oranges, and that's just like that country's chair, that is absolutely critical for the trade of the world. And the deficit is a way of having more dollars go out that wouldn't have been created otherwise. So the United States gets to spend into debt because it's generating new dollars. And this is supposed to be good. The trade-off is that the United States ends up exporting all their manufacturing abroad as other countries try to get more dollars from the United States. So this is the first time I've ever actually fully disagreed with Jeffrey Sachs in that, no, it's not like having a credit card. The credit card is this debt that you have to pay. The United States doesn't actually have to pay the debt, right? Am I wrong on that?
Defaulting on the debt would have incredibly negative consequences. So the credit card can continue to be used so long as there's faith in the US dollar.
It could be faith or force. It could be hey, you don't take our US dollar and you're going to cause us any problems, we're going to invade your country, like that. And so as long as that still stands, the problem that Donald Trump is doing is that he's actually not honoring that agreement that, hey, you get to have the unlimited credit card as long as you protect the seas and you encourage trade worldwide. That's the problem, not the spending. And so what I thought was funny in the markets here is that look how quickly the markets rebounded as soon as there was any hint that the tariffs wouldn't be as bad as it seems or would be gone. It just completely reversed, even though the uncertainty was still there.
Well, I think the uncertainty is still there. We still have a 90-day delay before we know where we go from here, correct?
Yeah. So this volatility is being exacerbated by the options market within the space. Mm-hmm. Most retail traders, they don't pay attention to. They think of the fundamentals. They think about the macro. And they think, okay, this is what should happen. We have all this uncertainty. VIX is going up. We should be going down. And the exact opposite happens because you have the positioning that causes market makers and retail to trace the charts up. You have this gamma towards the upside, which means that it's totally possible to show the price move of NASDAQ heading up to the 200-day moving average. It's totally possible that we keep heading back up higher, maybe even overshoot that. And people will still be like, I don't understand what's happening. Like, how is the market up in this environment?